Hey everybody, it is Audrey, and it's day 21 of the Summer Scrapping Series, the very last day. I'm kind of sad it's over, but I got a lot of other things coming up too, so stay tuned. Today my guest is Melody Rayner, and I will link her YouTube channel below, so please go check out her page for the series today too. So I am going to start with my background on this page. So I haven't shown you my photo yet, but it is a photo of my daughter, and she has a Bomb Pop popsicle, so the red, white, and blue ones, and I wanted to kind of mimic a dripping popsicle background. So I grabbed some watercolors, and I'm kind of making a kind of a pinkish red drip, and it's kind of hard to tell here in the video, but on the top of my paper I have a box underneath my paper so that my page is at an angle a little bit so that the drips are kind of dripping down as I paint. So the paper was not on a flat surface. So yeah, you can see the box there underneath the top of the paper. So I wanted the drips to kind of run down the page. And I'm just kind of mixing kind of a pinkish color and then a little bit of red as well. And then I'm going to bring in some of the blue, and I could not really get a great, I really wanted like a bright teal blue, and I don't feel like I got the color exactly like I wanted, but I do like this color blue, so it came out okay. I added a little bit of green to it to kind of make it a little bit more teal color, and I love where it overlaps and it kind of makes a purple. But actually, you don't end up seeing too much of this paint when it's all said and done, just a little bit around the edges of my picture and around the edges of my design. So I'm kind of helping out some of the drops there, trying to guide them in different ways, just to kind of make, you know, a few little paths of water droplets. And I love like when the water collects like in one little droplet at the end of a drop there, and when it dries, how the water gets really intense in those areas. So I'm just going to go through, add a little bit more color, and I'm trying to use my heat gun here to push some of the color around, and that one little blue splotch decided to go, on its own little path, and that's okay, it gets kind of covered up as well in the end. So, and I loved how the watercolors reacted when I added the I used up color shine. It kind of pushed some of the water away, but I just thought it looked so pretty. So I went through with the teal color shine and the pink rose color as well. So I'm going to use the heat gun on that and dry it off a little bit. And there is the photo I was talking about, and she's got totally blue teeth. It's kind of funny. So I am also using, this is called Transfer Gel, and it is from ThermaWeb. It's Deco Foil Transfer Gel, and I'm using a stencil from the Crafters Workshop, and this stencil is kind of just like big splatters. And I wanted to kind of bring in some of the splattered look from like an ice cream, and I'm going to use a foil, and it's called an opal foil. So it's kind of a whitish foil, but it has like some iridescence to it. So I thought it would look kind of pretty and kind of go along with kind of like a melted ice cream or melted popsicle look. So I'm just picking a couple areas on the stencil. I'm not using the entire stencil. I'm mostly using areas where there's like little tiny drops or little tiny splatters, and I'm just spreading this transfer gel through the stencil with a spatula, and you let it dry, and you can see, actually, is it dry yet? No, it's not dry yet. You can still see it's white. It's kind of white. It will clear up and it turned clear, but it stays tacky, and then I'll use my laminator with it here in a little bit. So I decided to go through and pick out some papers to go with my photo, and I am using the new Simple Stories collection, which I think is just called Summer Days, and I really love the red gingham print because it just screams summer picnic. And I pulled out a pink too, but I don't end up using the pink because it was not quite the pink shade of pink I was looking for, and also it had a kind of a cream base to it. So I went through my stash and also found some other pattern papers. I'm trying to bring in some of the pinks and blues to kind of pick up on the colors of the popsicles and kind of stick with that theme. And I liked the pink and blue stripes in this piece of paper. This is not from the same Simple Stories collection. It's from an older Simple Stories collection. I can't remember the name of it now. From maybe last summer or the summer before. But my thought, I was kind of thinking of what I was going to do for a design. When I was thinking of kind of like this picnic paper and popsicles, I was thinking of like a summer quilt, and I was thinking about actually a summer quilt that I have made using squares that were cut into triangles and then putting the triangles together, half square triangles, to make a quilt pattern. So I decided to take these strips and cut a whole bunch of triangles, and I'm doing this while my transfer gel is drying, by the way. I do let it dry for a couple hours and I come back, but while that's drying, I'm playing around with these shapes here. So I just take another piece of cardstock and I'm going to start arranging them to see if I actually like this. I didn't bring in too much pink. I really wanted to bring in some more pink, and then I was wondering if the red was going to be too dark. But as I started playing with it, I'm like, you know what? I kind of like this design. It's different. I like kind of like the red, white, and blue. I like the little piece of paper that has the little flowers on it as well. I wasn't planning on bringing any flowers into this page, but it's just little tiny bits, and they don't stand out that much, and you kind of have to really stare to even see them. So yeah, that looks kind of fun. So I'm going to play around with that. Okay, so I put my papers to the side. My transfer gel has dried. Well, it's not completely dry. It's dried clear. It's still a little tacky. I've put my white iridescent foil sheets over the areas where I had stenciled. Oh, nice hair. And I put the whole thing into a piece of parchment paper. So this is like parchment paper you would use for baking. And I buy the big rolls of it so that I can fit my 12 by 12 papers in it. And I'm running it through my laminator at 5 millimeters and on the hot setting. So let me get that out of the way, and so you can see when I pull off this foil here. Now it doesn't, the video just does not do it justice. It kind of looks almost gold, but it really has such a cool shine to it, and it's really, really fun. So I love how that came out. And whenever I use these foils, because they're not always perfect, I try to go for the imperfect looks, because if you expect it to be perfect and it doesn't come out perfect, it's disappointing. But if you go for kind of a coverage that's not so perfect, and you can get that look easily with the foils. So now I'm going to try to arrange all of my little triangles on here, and the paint already, the watercolors already were a little busy, and then adding that foil on top, and then I asked myself if I wanted to go and do a design like this over such a busy background, but I kind of liked it, and it was the idea I had in my mind. And sometimes when I get an idea in my mind, it's hard for me to change my mind. So I'm like, I'm going to try to make this work. So as I keep adding the triangles, I actually really end up liking how the pattern is looking over the watercolor paints there. So I'm going to kind of speed this up a little bit because it's just me really rearranging these triangles around the photo. And notice I'm not completing all the squares. I do kind of, leave a couple straggly triangles here and there. I had to cut a few more strips. Some of the flowers, the pieces that had the light blue with the flowers on them had orange flowers on them, and I didn't really want any of the orange flowers showing because I just thought that might look kind of weird. So anyway, I cut a few extra strips there. Fill in the last couple spaces. I love using quilt designs as inspiration. I know a lot of people do it, but it's just so fun. There are so many quilts. I have a quilting board on my Pinterest board if you want to check it out. It has over 1,000 quilts on it because I quilt too, so I love looking at quilt patterns. Okay, so I kind of like how these are, and if you know me, I usually design the whole page and then go back and glue everything down, but I wasn't going to deal with that with all these little triangles, so I'm like, I like this, I'm going to go with it, I'm just going to glue everything down, and then if something doesn't work out, I'll figure it out later. So I glue all those triangles down, and then I decided that there was way too much pink on the right side of the page and like no pink on the left, and I had covered up most of the blue. You can still see a little bit there, so I'm going to bring in some more pink over on the left here to kind of balance out that heavy pink color on the right. I wish when I was originally painting that side on the right there, I had added a little bit more paint to the top right corner, and I wish I didn't do that. I wish I kind of left it a light pink. So I started going through some of the other embellishments and paper pieces of paper in this collection, and I really liked this little card that said chillin', and it had the bomb pops on it. It was super cute, but I just didn't like it. It had too many colors in it, and this already kind of had a color theme going on, so I was going to just pretty much stick with these colors. And then I found this sticker that says chill, and it does have a little bit of yellow and green on it, but it's not as overpowering as the as that 3x4 card was. And then the little bomb pop chipboard, and I remembered when I was doing another page the other day that in one of the crepe paper collections, I found another bomb pop popsicle, and I go through a couple different collections, and I find quite a few of these popsicles, so I'm glad I was able to use a lot of them on a page. That is a piece of chipboard from Crepe Paper's Pier collection. And so I'm going through a whole bunch of my stash here. So I had been looking for a particular piece of chipboard that I used on my last page. Well, I had taken it out for my last page, and I did not end up using it. And do you think I can find it anywhere? I went through everything I used for my last page, and I cannot find it. So I wanted to bring in some craft colors. So I saw this craft sticker in my Crepe Paper collection, and I cut it in half, and I liked the little frilly border. And when I saw that, it reminded me of doilies, and I thought, you know what? I hardly ever use doilies on a page. This is kind of a summery picnic page. A doily might be a good addition, and I'm so glad that I dug through my doily stash. My only problem with these doilies is that they were not white enough. I wanted them. They were more transparent than I wanted them to be, and I wanted them to stand out better against the background. The one on the left under my photo isn't so bad, but the one on the right is kind of I don't know, you can just see through it a lot, and I didn't like that, so I'm going to add another smaller white doily on top. I added a craft tag underneath the photo, and I decided to add this cluster, like I said, down to the bottom left. And I love the little red labels. That label there that I'm going to do my journaling on, it kind of reminds me like of a canning label or something. And I'll bring a little embellishment down there to kind of draw your eye across the page. I loved the way that this sunshine and happiness phrase also fit in with the chill sticker. So this just started like coming together. Like I said, I dug through my stash for a while, but once I found little bits that I wanted to use, I kind of just like put them on the page, and they kind of just, you know, found a place rather quickly. So I liked the way that it is all working out here. I think the addition of the craft really helped kind of define the edges of the photos a little bit better. So I am happy with this design. Wasn't that, if you watch my videos regularly, that was pretty fast for me because I usually spend a long time embellishing. So yeah, I really threw the things on that page pretty quickly, and I'm like, I'm going to glue it and be done with it because I like it. So I just added some foam to the back of my photo just to make it stand off the page a little bit more. I had considered stitching over the shapes in the background because I did do kind of like a quilted pattern that maybe I should have stitched over them. But once I put this border to the right of my photo with that craft sticker, and then the border to the left on the left edge of the page, I felt that I had to stitch over those because I needed those to be more grounded on the page. So I'm going to go back and stitch over those. And I'm just adding some things on the pop dots. I'm really trying to squeeze that little blue pinwheel in too because I just thought it was super cute. And so I ended up tucking it over there underneath well, actually it moves from the left. It goes back over underneath the popsicle cluster on the right. But I move it around quite a bit trying to find the right spot to put it. And that's where it's going to stay. So at my daughter's school, this was actually Flag Day, and they did a Flag Day celebration. Instead of having like the kids do celebrations for every holiday, for every grade, each grade does a different celebration throughout the year. So she was in second grade, and second grade celebration is Flag Day. And so they put on this whole big Flag Day show. They made these super cute red, white, and blue flag shirts with their teachers, and they had red, white, and blue popsicles, and they sang all kinds of patriotic songs, you know, 50 Nifty, United States, and they each had a little state project they had to do. It was so super cute. So this was her Flag Day celebration, and this was her class treat afterwards, and that was her favorite part, of course, because this girl and snacks. She loves her snacks and her treats. Okay, so the red and white twine on the tag, and that's pretty much it. So this was kind of a crazy page, but I kind of like how it came out. You can't even really see the foil when it's all said and done, but I kind of like the little splatters it adds in there. But lots of fun, interesting layers, and kind of a fun picnicky summer theme. So that wraps it up for the 21 days. Thank you so much for all of your comments and your questions and your support, and for all the other contributors who have done videos for me, with me, for these 21 days. I really appreciate it. And I will have a lot more series coming up in the next couple months, and the big one will be, the next one will be 12 Days of Christmas in December. But I have a couple more week-long ones planned over the next couple months that you need to stay tuned for. So thank you again so much for all your support. It really means so much to me. So stay scrappy, my friends, and I will see you for the next video.